Although set up to appear early on in The Wheel of Time Season 3, Gareth Bryne's place in the show's future has since been called into question, on account of what happened to Sue Sanchez. Gareth Bryne, a military leader and a key ally in the Dragon Reborn's fight to win the last battle, is among the many major characters from Robert Jordan's Wheel of Time books still missing from Prime Video's live-action adaptation. However, it has been confirmed that he exists in its world. During Elaine's talk with Lord Gabriel aka Ravin before her departure from Tar Valon, it was mentioned that Gareth Bryne had lost his position as the Kingdom of Andia's Captain General. This event does occur in the universe of the books, and for a seemingly similar reason, so this appeared to be set up for Gareth Bryne getting a book-accurate story later on, possibly in Season 4. Unfortunately, that's now an impossible task in light of Sue Sanchez's death in the Season 3 finale. Gareth Bryne's story has been irreversibly changed. Sue Sanchez is integral to Gareth Bryne's story in the Wheel of Time books. Gareth Bryne became a main character as a repercussion of Sue Sanchez's escape. Sue Sanchez, Sophie Okonedo, is pierced by several magical arrows in the Wheel of Time Season 3 EP8. Image via Prime Video. In contrast to the events that played out in the Wheel of Time Season 3 finale, Sue Sanchez was stilled and imprisoned as part of her sentence, rather than executed. Afterward, she teamed with Loghain Abla, Minute Farshaw, and Leen Sharif to stage an escape from the White Tower. During their travels outside Tar Valon, they crossed paths with Gareth Bryne. After seeking shelter in his home, an accident led to damages to his property. As punishment for their actions, Gareth Bryne made them become servants. As time passed, Gareth Bryne learned Sue Sanchez's true identity and the pair became close, even developing a romantic relationship. Gareth Bryne also became a staunch ally to Sue, using the men at his command to support her in the Aes Sedai rebel camp at Salada. Bryne maintained a strong presence in the series, appearing as a support character in multiple storylines, generally in Sue Sanchez's company and eventually, as her warder. Sue Sanchez's death is a bad sign for Gareth Bryne's future. Her death adds to the evidence that Gareth Bryne has been cut. Sue Sanchez, Sophie Okonedo, with wounds all over her body in the Wheel of Time Season 3 EP8. Image via Prime Video. With the Wheel of Time putting so much emphasis on the love story between Sue and Moiraine, the former getting romantically involved with Gareth Bryne has long seemed unlikely. However, a platonic relationship built on mutual respect where Sue is humbled by having to become Gareth Bryne's servant didn't appear to be outside the realm of possibility for her post-Merlin seat story. Of course, the Wheel of Time has now taken that off the table and changed Gareth Bryne's future in the process. At this point, it's worth wondering if Season 3's Gareth Bryne name drop was nothing more than a nod to a major book character. Sue Sanchez's death signals that the Salada plotline will have much less relevance in the TV version of the story and isn't something it plans to devote a multi-episode, on-screen arc to in the forthcoming seasons. If that's the case, there may be much less for Bryne to do, if he appears at all. It's highly plausible at this point that in cutting Sue Sanchez's story, the show has effectively removed Gareth Bryne from the narrative as well. How the Wheel of Time could replace Sue Sanchez in Gareth Bryne's story. Gareth Bryne could join forces with Morghese instead. Queen Morghese in Wheel of Time. Alternatively, the show could make a book-accurate take on Gareth Bryne's arc without Sue Sanchez. After all, a different but somewhat similar situation in the books provides for a dynamic akin to the one that Sue and Bryne share. In the Fires of Heaven, Queen Morghese Trakan went into exile after Ravin successfully orchestrated a takeover in Keemlin. Much like Sue, Morghese had her fair share of adventures while getting accustomed to her loss of authority. It could be that the Wheel of Time has cut Sue's storyline but will keep Morghese, and could use that to facilitate a role for Gareth Bryne. Such a scenario shouldn't be ruled out, considering that the Wheel of Time has already been laying the groundwork for Ravin to claim the Lion Throne. Ravin has clearly been using compulsion to gain influence within Andia's court. That means it's only a matter of time before he makes his move. This will either result in Morghese facing an early death as well or the character going on the run. If the show goes with the latter option, it could be that she'll have a tense reunion with her former Captain General. Another path for the series to take with Gareth Bryne may have presented itself when Tom Merrilin tipped Elaine Trakan off about Lord Gabriel being a member of the Forsaken in the Wheel of Time. Because this doesn't happen in the books, it could very well open the door for an all-new plotline to unfold. Now that Elaine has been warned of Ravin's treachery ahead of time, the series may send her on a journey back home to Keemlin. If the show entertains a season-long storyline set in Keemlin where Elaine tries to unravel Ravin's plans, there should absolutely be an opportunity for Gareth Bryne to appear. After all, Gareth Bryne's dismissal is a known consequence of Ravin's plotting. He wanted Bryne out of the way due to his influence on Morghese. With that in mind, it would make sense for him to be personally motivated to help Elaine stop Ravin and his tracks and thwart any attempt on Queen Morgase's life. He may no longer have any real power in Andia, but as someone who spent decades of his life serving the Queen, he most likely still has some noteworthy connections he can lean on to disrupt Ravin's influence. If the show leans in this direction, Gareth Bryne could be a major supporting character in the story the show is setting up for Ravin, who is now a prime candidate for the Wheel of Time Season 4's main villain. This would be drastically different from what the source material offered him, but would still be consistent with who he is as a person in Robert Jordan's books.